Legislative and Human Resources Committee of the Kent County Board of Commissioners. We will go ahead and get started with our first item, which is public comment. If anybody wishes to address the committee, you may do so. Please identify yourself by name and your address, and you have 3 minutes. And if not, we'll move on to the next item, which is approval of the minutes.
I'll move it.
Motion to approve, been supported. Discussion, not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are approved. Third item of business is a report from Fiscal Services, Steve Duarte, on performance measurement review. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thanks for having me here to talk about our department. Before I start on the performance measures, I'd like to introduce a couple key members of my staffers here to also assist if there are questions I can't answer. Stephanie Lee, who is Kent County's risk manager, and Cal Brinks, who is in charge of purchasing as purchasing manager in fleet services. I want to start by giving the board an overview of what I'm going to attempt to provide you with today. Alignment with board priorities, key performance metrics, significant budget issues, significant accomplishments for fiscal services, key collaborations, and a look ahead as to what I see us working on in the future. The fiscal services mission is to provide an efficient, cost-effective financial management system that facilitates sound financial planning and reporting while safeguarding the county's assets from loss, and to provide support services to other county departments. Talking about alignment of fiscal services with the board's priorities, starting with stable revenues, we work closely with departments to acquire grants, contributions, and other sources of revenue. We make certain that the state of Michigan requirements are met for the county to continue to receive full revenue sharing. And we monitor revenue receipts to ensure that they are received timely and to the level we expect. Fiscal Services continues to leverage all resources to provide support services to county departments, other local agencies. Efficiencies are usually come through pushing the technology envelope as far as we can, leading to what we hope is more efficient use of resources and collaborative results. Under the efficient use of resources, we develop realistic revenue forecasts to assist county leadership in its decision-making. We assist in developing a budget that is realistic and responsive to the needs of Kent County while aligning costs with our available resources. Working with other agencies and departments to leverage purchasing volume to try and get the best possible cost, utilizing the reverse auction to obtain best prices available and hopefully the best quality also. Manage cash flow to ensure receivables are collected timely and continue to maintain general fund balance that is compliant with board policy. We also, in addition to collecting receivables, try to stretch payables to the maximum. That means paying at the last possible date and still taking advantages of any discounts and making sure they're paid on time. But we stretch them out as far as we can so we can keep that money invested. Involving and promoting citizen participation is important to fiscal services. By utilizing technology, fiscal services works to keep citizens informed of the county's financial condition while transparently providing information that is frequently requested of fiscal services. Under citizen participation, I will note before we go on that all these are links to where this information is available on Access Kent. Provide financial transparency and county incentive program information to all interested parties online. We post bid opportunities, solicitation status, updates, and surplus goods online on sale online. We provide vendor resource information online, and we provide information online that is frequently requested from our department via FOIA request to increase transparency for citizens. Several years ago, Cal Brinks and I talked about one of the areas where we get a lot of FOIA requests is in purchasing. And so we set out to say, why do we want to make citizens come downtown, park, take a chance of getting a ticket, come upstairs, spend time, send us a letter for when a lot of stuff they're asking was just public information. We had no desire not to share it, so we set up a system online so that a citizen or a vendor doing business with us can do a couple clicks and get all the information they want without ever filing a FOIA request. Trying to be very, very transparent and making it cost-effective for the citizens to get access to that data. The Fiscal Services constantly strives to be a proactive, innovative department, which requires our department to use technology as much as possible so that we can maintain services at a higher level, even if we have less resources available to do it. Under proactive, innovative government, we administer the reverse auction and bid process with purchases made and expand on collaboration with local governmental units. I don't know if any of you are aware of how that reverse auction works, but we put a particular item. It works best for commodities, not for professional services. 12-gauge steel, you put it out online, and then you open up the bid. People register to get in, and you see a declining bid for each one. So somebody starts at $10, somebody may bid $9, and we run that out for a period of time to keep people from waiting till the last minute. If somebody puts a bid in at the last minute, it extends an additional 10 minutes so others can put on there. We've had great success squeezing down the price on commodity items, and we have had great success with other local units that want to participate in that. The other advantage to that, when you have a commodity item and everybody knows you're doing it, for instance, if you're going to buy shirts, a lot of local units use T-shirts for their programs and their ball teams and things like that. Well, one of the biggest is East Grand Rapids. So when their bid goes out, if you've got 10 shirts for your local unit and 100 shirts for another, we combine them all together, do a reverse auction. You, who have the small quantity, benefit from the larger quantity being out there. It really works quite well, and we have a lot of positive feedback from various townships and cities that have participated in that. Automate processes that require minimal intervention, which provide information to county employees and citizens. Provide added resources to the fleet services operation to improve efficiency and increase capacity. Key goals and metrics. The accounting division manages accounts payable, accounts receivable, financial analysis, financial reporting, grant management, general ledger administration, and the audit process. Key goals and metrics: to process vendor payments accurately, timely, and efficiently. The objective: to process at least 99% of our accounts payable invoices without error. Results: percentage of accounts payable issued without error. Left to right, from 2016 to 2019 expectation, 98.91%, 99.27%, 99.5%, and we expect greater than 99% this year. To put things in perspective, in 2018, the accounting division processed 57,866 invoices and issued 36,340 payments. So there's a lot of activity going through the county. Again, key goals and metrics to maximize cash flow and protect against cash flow shortfalls. Objective to maintain a minimum fund balance equal to 40% of the subsequent year's adopted budget, which includes transfers out. Results, general fund budget as a percent of subsequent year's budget, 39.86%, 39.58%, 40%. 40% is our expectation for 2019. It's a graphic that shows 10 years of history with general fund balance as fund balance as a percent of subsequent year's budget. The low point was in 2017, we were at 39.6%. The high was in 2014 where we hit 41.3%, but we hover very, very close to that 40% like we're supposed to. The Budget Division manages the budget development process, budget maintenance, financial forecasting, financial reporting, grant management, budget communication, and database administration. Key goals and metrics to prepare and maintain a budget that is realistic and responsive to the needs of the county. Objective to process 99% of approved budget amendment within 2 business days. Results, percent of approved budget amendments processed within 2 business days ranged from 99.46, 99.49, 99.5. We expect greater than 99% for 2019. To put again things in perspective, in 2018, the budget staff maintained budgets for over 35 funds, more than 180 cost centers, and over 5,000 budget lines, and processed 641 budget amendments. Again, the key goals and metrics to prepare and maintain a budget that is realistic and responsive to the needs of county. The objective to maintain a general fund revenue budget to actual revenue variance of less than 2%. In other words, we give you a budget estimate of revenue, and the actual collections we want plus or minus 2% to stay in that range. We feel that is about as close as we can get it. Results, percent of variance in general fund budget to actual, 1.8%, 1.8%, 2.3%, and our expectation for 2019 is less than 2%. Again, here's a 10-year data points for the general fund revenue budget variance. You'll see a dotted line that is above and below. That is plus 2%, minus 2%. We're trying to stay within that band. The blue line is the actual budget variance. If you look at the 10 years of history, the low side was a negative 4.9 in 2010. Our poor economic conditions made it difficult to project taxable value. We had a lot going on. It was a part of the Great Recession. It was just a very, very difficult time for us. And then the high side was 2.3% high. That was in 2018. That was essentially the unbudgeted sale of the North Monroe property. That was not a part of the original budget revenue estimates when we put it together for you. Central Services Division supports the county departments with printing, imaging, digital communication, microfilming, scanning, messenger service, mail processing, and a secure records archive storage space. Key goals and metrics to provide cost-effective document management services in support of county departments in a timely manner. The objective is to maintain the percent of print jobs completed by the requested due date to at least 98% of the time. Results, percent of print jobs completed by the requested due date, 98.13, 98.03, 97.92. We expect to be greater than 98% for 2019. Excuse me a second. In 2018, Central Services processed 531,944 pieces of outgoing mail, 829,236 frames of microfilm, and did 2,355 print jobs. Fleet Division manages the county vehicles, provides scheduled maintenance, maintains a parts inventory, manages the fueling system, oversees vehicle liquidation, analyzes department vehicle requirements, advises the Fire Commission of fire truck repairs. Key goals and metrics: to provide a preventative maintenance program on a scheduled basis consistent with manufacturer and professional standards. Objective: to ensure preventative maintenance on county vehicles is completed within 2 days, 95% of the time. Results: percent of preventative maintenance performed within 2 days, 95%, 95, 95. We expect it'll be 95 again this year. Payroll Division manages all employee payroll payments, processes, and benefit time banks, maintains payroll reference tables such as local, state, and federal tax rates, and budget-related updates and changes, performs all payroll-related local, state, and federal reporting requirements. Key goals and metrics: to provide accurate payroll information while meeting all the federal, state, and local reporting deadlines. Objective: to issue 99.9% of all payroll payments without errors. Percent of payroll payments issued without errors, the results are 99.95, 99.91, 99.98. We expect to be greater than 99% again this year. Purchasing Division manages the procurement of goods and services, negotiates contracts, manages vendor relations, acts as a liaison to the Fire Commission, and assists other local units with procurement. As I said earlier, we have people that come in and leave and come back and all that stuff. We're currently providing these services to about 5 to 10 local townships and cities, and we have one county that we work with on a regular basis, which happens to be Allegan County. They really like to use us, particularly in procurement of their IT-related stuff. We've been able to save them a substantial amount of money. Key goals and metrics: to ensure that there is vendor competition in order to obtain the best possible price and quality. Objective: to encourage participation in county business opportunities. Results: the average responses received per solicitation, 5.09, 4.68, 4.69. We're striving to hit at least 5 again this year. Risk Management Division mitigate the county's risk exposure through the self-insurance, risk transfer, administers the self-funded and commercial insurance program, claims administration, administers workers' compensation, and DOT program. DOT stands for Department of Transportation, and we have certain employees that have a commercial driver's license that have to be monitored and certain things like that. We handle that out of risk management. Key goals and metrics: to reduce workdays lost to occupational illness or injury. Objective: to limit lost workdays per workers' comp indemnity claim to 50 days or less. Results: average lost workdays per indemnity claim, 65.83, 28.49, 53.56, we're shooting for less than 50 days this year. That is something that's somewhat out of our control. Sometimes we have a major entry where somebody's off a lot of days. Some years we have a good year, it's less. But it's part of us trying to manage to make sure that we get a healthy employee return to work. Case management, physical therapy, those type of things to make sure that everything is lined up to go in smooth order, not to get out of sync, not to let the appointments get too far away, because our objective is to get the employee healthy and back into Kent County doing their job. Talk a little bit about significant accomplishments. Fleet Services developed a real-time vehicle monitoring system, modified parts storage, updated fuel management software, and added technology at the workstation. By that, we mean we took tough notebooks and allowed them to work right there. Before, we used to have one computer they had to walk to. We used to have parts in the back they had to go get. Well, we wanted the employees working, not walking all the time. So we've redesigned the logistics, gave them the tools at the machine so that we continue to do more with less. Fleet Services has increased its capacity through the use of technology and process improvements I just described. And at the same time, we've added over 40 vehicles over the last 5 years and other equipment that's been added to the fleet inventory. Fleet Services has accomplished this with 2 less full-time employees. In 2010, we did away with the fleet manager and combined that division and put it under the purchasing manager and just used an assistant down there. The other thing is we used to have 2 people down there doing radio service technicians down there. We cut that to 1, and we were able to keep up with everybody because of how we've reorganized and used technology. So even with that growth, we're still able to do it with 2 less people. Central Services consolidated the mailroom with the courthouse mailroom to optimize staff effectiveness, balance the mail processing, and create roll backups without adding staff. Central Services is one of those divisions that has to provide service every day. So if you have a vacation or an illness or an injury, you got to create the backup to handle that. You have mail delivery, which is outside the county, where we go to the courthouse, we go to the health department and deliver mail, okay? We also have internal mail that's delivered inside the building that has to be handled. So if one of those people are out, we have to move the next person over. So we did a lot of planning on how we could do that. And then we also worked with Al Jalen and the courthouse mail people to make sure they had the same equipment, duplication of what we had here. We smoothed that out by working with them. And as far as I know, I've received no complaints. It has went very well. And that's probably been in place last 6 to 9 months. And I'm very satisfied with how that went. Significant accomplishments for the county. Reorganization, excuse me, reorganization that has better defined roles, improved communication, improved efficiency, improved customer service, and stakeholder satisfaction. As you know, we spent or as I hope you know, we spent a couple of years switching software system for the county, going from PeopleSoft to A360. And during that process, I basically split my staff and moved part of them across the street to work with IT on that project, left the remaining staff over here. During that period of time, things kind of, you dealt more with the critical things, and sometimes some of the day-to-day stuff didn't get done as well as I would have liked to have it done. Now that we're consolidated back, we had some key retirements and some other people who made career changes. It was time to rebuild the staff and reset the standards back to the level that I thought we should do. We were fortunate. We tightened up on the requirements to come work for us. Absolutely, if you were going to work in the accounting division, you had to have at least a 4-year accounting degree. If you were a CPA, that was a plus. We liked that also. we ended up hiring, I think, 3 or 4 new people. All of them meet that requirement. We're all doing a great job. Now what we have set down is laid out what we expect in terms of performance, where it's to be done, the quality is to be done like, and any particular procedures we want standardized. We're trying to improve our service, and I think we have improved our service to the outlying departments, the quality of work, the timing of the work, all better. I think that's been a major step for us. Risk management, completed property valuation to establish current insurable values and loss prevention techniques to reduce premium and other losses. Fiscal Services collaborates with all county departments, many local units, the state of Michigan, over 6,500 vendors, fire commission, fire departments, standard boards, rating agencies, financial services organization. The list goes on. Here are some of the logos of some of the many people that would collaborate on an ongoing basis. A look ahead. We've made great strides towards being an efficient, technology-driven organization, but we have more to do. We're going to have some GASB updates. They're going to continue all the time. Why should that concern you? Well, some of those reporting requirements also change how our financial statements look. All you got to take a look at is GASB 34, which made us do government-wide statements. GASB 73 and 74 set standards for OPEB. 67, 68 set standards for the pension system. So there's all types of things that have an effect on your balance sheet. We continue to deal with those every day. There's a new state-mandated chart of accounts that we're going to have to deal with. We thought we had it all under control. We thought we had the latest one in our hand. The state put it out. Few people didn't like what they saw, went back, changed it again. We know we're going to get a new one. That's important for us because it can change how we structure our budgets and our funds. Can mean some more disruption, at least initially. I think the goal of that is to get everybody using the same line items for the same type of cost, and then have that feed into what they call a document called the F-65. And the F-65 summarizes all of the financial data of all those local units in the state of Michigan. And why they like that consistent is if you're looking at Oakland County, or if you're looking at Monroe County or Kent County, you want to be able to get the same financial information. You want comparable data. So we know we're going to be dealing with that. Believe it or not, it's been 5 years since we did the transition into A360, so we're going to be facing a financial software upgrade. As many of you know, 5 years in software is a lifetime. We will be dealing with that issue over the next probably 20 and 21. Leverage technology to improve efficiency. Again, we tend to try and find different ways to automate so that we can not only do it more efficiently, but be more effective in our communication to other departments and to the citizens and the public and ultimately the board itself. Vendor maintenance, increase the number of EFT payments. The reason we want to do that, it's more effective, it's more cost effective. I think it's something like 3 cents to issue an EFT and more like a quarter or so to issue a check. Those might not be the exact numbers, but that gives you the relative magnitude. Also, if you're printing, you got paper, you've got ink, toner, machines, a lot of things that you don't really need if you go to the digital world. So we want to increase that as much as possible. How will we do that? We will target vendors that get multiple checks every time we issue accounts payable and say, hey, this would be great, and basically do a little marketing job with those particular vendors, and hopefully convince more and more of them to go with EFT. Increase the number of direct deposit payroll payments for the same reason, because we can cut costs, we can get rid of paper, we can get rid of machines, we can cut toner. All those things cost money for us. And effectively, it really is, as a person who didn't want to go with direct deposit years ago, I love it. Because, you know, if I'm out of state, if I, I'm sick, can't come to work, I don't have to worry about my check. It's sitting in the bank. It's available as 12:01 a.m. on the Friday you get paid. I don't know why anybody would want to depend on the mail for the check to come, but we do have some. A look ahead continued. Leveraging technology has to be to become an employer of choice. These next 2 points really are true not only for fiscal services, but countywide. Millennials, Gen Xers, if we're going to be an employer of choice, we have to be tech savvy. We have to use technology in order to attract them, keep them challenged, and be part of our workforce. And if we don't do that, then we're going to miss out on some of the top talent, and I don't think we want to do that as a county. Enhancing document management techniques. I still think that the low-hanging fruit for Kent County is dealing with document management. Using software tools to improve scanning, archival, retrieval, electronic signatures, document retention, that offers a huge opportunity to do what I said earlier, to be more effective in how you do your job, to be more effective in being able to generate reports that are available to your departments, to the board, and to our citizens. So I think that is a key thing that we need to keep working on, not only in fiscal services, but Kent County as a whole. I want to thank the commissioners for allowing me to share what my department does. And we have a couple of people, plus myself, who will try to answer any questions you may have.
Well, good. Thank you, Steve, and thank you for your exhaustive report on an important department of our county. Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Vaughn.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the good work you've given the county over the number of years that I've worked with you. It's been fantastic work, and I really appreciate all you've done, and I appreciate the answers you gave me to financial questions, whether it concerns the airport or the DPW or other areas of the county. You always got back to me and always did a great job. With that said, I got 2 questions for you. What thing are you most proud of since you've been director? And the second thing, what are the watch-outs? And the third thing is, I still get my check in the mail, and I tell my wife it's a bi-weekly letter from Wayman. Works really good.
Well, for me, that's an easy answer. And maybe I should have quit there. But anyway, the easy answer is OnBase. OnBase is a document management software that we use now pretty much countywide. It's interwoven into long things. But what people don't realize was that the first project was a pilot project in fiscal services. I worked with IT to select that software, and then we used it for accounts payable. And it was a tremendous success. We set up a scanner. The scanner had the ability to, quote, learn, because we would put it in there and it would say, we think this is the invoice number, we think this is the address, we think this is whatever. And so what we would do is say, no, we'd be going to program it. No, for this particular invoice, it's here, here, here. And so you got to the point, after a while, you had to scan it in. It uploaded so that it would go in to PeopleSoft, okay? We also, because we worked on with it, there's scanning where you just scan it and get a picture. There's also scanning with keywords. Well, keywords mean how much you search for it. Might search for it on name, might search for it invoice number, and so you would scan it in, and it will keep that, and then you would be able to search that document back any way you want to, as long as you specify that keyword. So archival and retrieval became pretty easy to do. We use digital signatures so that you click, the machine has it right to the 1/100th of a second, I think it is, as to when you clicked it saying, this is approved. So all those things allow that document to flow around and be tracked. And to me, it was a tremendous time saver. We know the departments, some departments took positions that were took 2 people to do a job with accounts payable. After that, through attrition, maybe cut a position, or through attrition said, or through reduction of work said, oh, I've got 2 people here. One was one of the people working court said, oh, now I can reassign this person to a job that we need to do without adding staff and collect for people leaving the court before they leave, because we know if we get the money sooner rather than later, that's a bonus. So that whole thing, and then rolling it up to other departments. Corporate counsel uses it for searching documents. So it's just been, to me, a big success. The biggest problem we've had is we can't roll it out fast enough. So I think you need to continue to put the resources to it and move it around to a lot more functions, because it's, in purchasing, for instance, we went so digital that we used to have 14 four-drawer files with paper in it. You can't find one downstairs now. It's all digital, all because of how we use this software for document management. Enough. I really get worked up about that one.
And any watch-outs that we need to watch out for in the future for younger board members here at this table that we could get off track?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that one.
Any concerns for the future? Any watch-outs for your department that you would say, hey, you need to watch this, that make sure this doesn't happen, or we're moving backwards on this issue?
Any concerns with the future that you should watch? Or watch outs?
Nothing I can think of right this second. I mean, I've laid out what I think we have to watch. I mean, you got a good person coming in behind me, you'd be fine.
Thank you.
Good. All right, Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Steck. Steve, thanks for your work and your passion. You've been at the helm my tenure on the board, and I appreciate it. Just 3 quick questions. The vendor payment errors, I know it was only 1%, but could you give me an example of what type of error is common? Just inverting of numbers, or just a complete error on the bill?
Probably the most common that can happen, you hate to have it, you can double pay an accounts payable from time to time. We've had to go out and recover that. Though you try to build in software or things that's there that handle that. That's probably the most common. And really in terms of loss, I can't remember any losses that we've had. We've had to scramble around to get some back, but it's rare and infrequent.
Okay, so the next one in the purchasing division, I know that we do it in-house, we have the reverse auction. Is there ever times where we go outside to another type of purchasing to get a better deal than what we can do?
Yes, and I tell you, I'd like Cal to step up and talk about that if he would. I mean, I can answer, but I think Cal knows it far better than me.
Good morning. The answer is specifically yes. We have many tools we use. You heard about reverse auction. We do bidding, request for proposals, quotes, and so forth. But we do look at collaborative purchases as well, like my deal with the state of Michigan, America Saves with Oakland County. So we evaluate them all. More frequently, we can bid and beat those, but not in all cases. And we do absolutely use collaborative bids in those instances.
Okay, thank you for that. With my email address being public, that's one of the things I get in my email field constantly, is people that telling me that we got a better way to do your purchasing. So I appreciate all your work and at least looking at the outsides to return the best investment. Then my final question is another one that I get. Under document management, especially the scanning, the archival, and retention, is it cheaper for us to do it in-house, or would it be cheaper for to at least take a look at having it done outside?
You talking about the scanning?
Yeah, just all of that.
Typically, when you have a backlog, okay, it is probably cheaper to go outside, and we have went outside and we have bid that service. Because, you know, if you wanna, like us, we wanted to have 7 years of history there. That's our document retention level. With ongoing stuff, we've got that down to a pretty much to a science, at least in my department. We scan it, it's up in there. We have it set up so that if you email your invoice to the right email address, it automatically is stripped off that email. The keywords data is automatically uploaded to us. We don't touch it, okay? So we've got a lot of things for current and going forward. It's when you look at backlogs, it's more cost effective to go outside.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And by the way, when you talk about, just if I may, when you talk about purchasing, we have had people from around the state just come up to want to see how our purchasing operation works, and they drool and they compliment us, and they wish they could do the same thing.
All right, Commissioner Talon.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Steve. I want to say thank you.
Oh,
You are, in my estimation, the epitome of a great public servant.
thank you, sir.
I have found you to be honest, to be transparent, and the way that you do your work, the way you go about it, makes people trust you, including me. And I want to say thank you for that. It's been a pleasure all these years to work with you.
I hope you can't see me blushing. Thank you.
I want to ask kind of maybe a technical question, kind of a big picture one. I suspect there are people on our board who, there's a number of places in your report that you talked about getting the best value through our processes, through our automated processes. I think there are some on the board who would also see a value to buying locally, using small business owners within the community as an economic development tool. So in addition to the value of getting the best price, there's also, I think, a case to be made for supporting small businesses locally, a variety of benefits from that. Is there a way to factor that piece in? Can you imagine a way to factor that in, and maybe this is a Cal question, into our automated processes so that it's not just the best value, but how can we also support businesses locally, because there's lots of benefits to that as well?
I'm going to answer part of this. And this is a Steve and Cal question because we work quite closely on where we want to take the division and the things we want to do. We both believe, and I'll let Cal say this piece too, we both believe that the most important thing is the playing field be level for all, okay? And the second most important thing is price and value for what we get. Jump balls, always, we would prefer, if those things are equal, we would prefer the local business. That's getting to be a difficult thing to define because you have multinational corporations that have maybe a little office or a storefront in Kent County versus the small business person who created, lived, and built his business in Kent County. We spend a lot of time, and I'm going to let Cal cover this piece because he does it. We spend a lot of time outreach to all our local vendors, small vendors, minority vendors, women, WBEs, businesses. We really, really encourage them to come with us. But I believe the best way to operate is to keep the playing field equal for all. Cal, you want to address that more? You deal with it every day of your life.
And if I could just follow up before that, Cal, I recognize that that's a priority for the department, but if the board would say to fiscal services, we have this additional priority, what would be the implication of that for making that happen? Can we do that technically? Can we develop systems to do that? What would that entail? Because obviously that's your priority, but if the board has another priority, can you implement that? It's tough.
I think the board could set that standard if it so chose. I mean, you are in fact the legislative body of Kent County. I would personally speak out against it because I don't believe it's the right way to approach it. And that's just my personal opinion. And sometimes you like my opinion, sometimes you don't, but that's where I stand on that question.
I appreciate the question too, because we live that question. I'm going to respond in a couple ways. First, big picture. As you're aware, we operate under the Board of Commissioner policy, and the policy is exactly what Steve says, is give everybody equal opportunity in an open market to participate and have opportunity to do business with Kent County. And that's what we live by, the big picture. I know it's been looked at before. Last I know that was looked at the board level, I believe it was 2010. And the board commissioners here, some of them along with others, served and looked at it and said the county policies at that time and the policies that we live with today are sound, and we should continue with that. On the professional organizations, on the National Institute of Government Procurement, they've done studies on, they also would recommend that we don't institute local preferences or discounting or things like that, because it ultimately, in their opinion as well, drives up the cost. That doesn't mean we can't stop and work on this, because it's dear to all of our heart. How do we do that? And we do work on it on every one of our purchasing meetings. That is on our agenda. A couple things we do. We are members of the Michigan Public Purchasing Officers Association, which is the state of Michigan representatives for public procurement, and we meet there. Next year, we encourage, and we're very excited, we'd like your help on it, is they're coming to town in April, and we're hosting an event at Frederick Meyer Garden where businesses in West Michigan can come and learn how to do business not only with Kent County, but many large organizations within the county. So that's creating opportunity. We're members of the West Michigan Public Purchasing Alliance. I'm the chair of that. That sole mission is to look at inclusiveness specifically for the underrepresented groups, the small groups, small businesses, and so forth. We just recently hosted, Kent County, along with the Alliance, hosted the event at the Co-op Extension. And we reached out to all of the groups, the Michigan Minority Supplier Council, invite them, they came to the meeting, Grand Rapids Area Opportunity for Women, the chambers, and many came and they learned how to do business with Kent County. But from our perspective, and my perspective as well, it's much more than that. It's reducing barriers for small businesses, for underrepresented groups to come and do business with Kent County. And we work really hard on that. And how do you do that? Is not necessarily through preference, but through simplifying our processes so that we don't scare people away. If you look at public procurement proposals, bids, they can be 30 pages, 40 pages long of boilerplate before you even figure out what they're going to buy. It scares small businesses away. It scares your underrepresented groups away. And so we sat down as a purchasing group earlier this year, and we read every sentence, every paragraph in our bid document. So our proposals now are 3 pages or less to, again, encourage small businesses to come, encourage everybody to come to table and participate. I was in a interview last week with vendors for a very important bid, and 3 of the 5 that we interviewed unsolicited said, you know, the reason we came to participate in Kent County is because it's simple and it's easy to do business. We also survey. So we have instituted, our administrator bought survey tools, and we survey, ask is it fair, how can we break down those barriers? And we're listing, we're calling people who identify themselves, and we're working on that. And so that's what we're doing to try to reduce barriers, include everybody in an equal opportunity. So hopefully that's helpful.
Any follow-up? You're all set.
Yeah, didn't get my question answered, but I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
All right. Any other commissioners? If not, I have one question, then a comment. First of all, Cal, for you, I read an article the other day about a community that had committed to go to or move towards all-electric vehicles. I guess the question is, have we done that kind of analysis, and where are we in that approach?
Yes, we have done that, and we have looked at it from time to time. We have owned in some past some electric vehicles, so we do a total cost analysis. The majority of our vehicles are patrol vehicles, sheriff vehicles, in a county road environment out in the roads. And right now, the vehicles that we're purchasing still are the most economical in the total overall cost.
Good, thank you. And then my comment, believe this is your last report, Steve, fiscal services report. And so I want to take that opportunity. I'm sure we'll have more opportunities to thank you for your years of service, but certainly to acknowledge you for what you have done for this county over the years. You know, in everybody's life, we have these variables and we have constants. And frankly, over the last 5 years, fiscal services has been one of my constants. I never had to worry or be concerned about it. So I think in large part that's due to your leadership and your role in that work. So thank you for that. And we look forward to being able to acknowledge you later again.
Thank you, all of you.
All right, let's move to the next item, which is a report from the Administrator's Office and a proposed resolution for the purchase of development rights rankings.
Yes, this is a request to the Board of Commissioners to approve the Agriculture Preservation Board's 2019 Purchase of Development Rights ranking. The Purchase of Development Rights Ordinance adopted by the Board of Commissioners in 2002 established procedures for the administration of the PDR program. And by ordinance, the Kent County Agricultural Preservation Board is responsible for much of the program administration, with certain items presented to the Board Commissioners for approval. The Agricultural Preservation Board prepared the selection criteria to rank and prioritize PDR applications, and in June 2019, the Board of Commissioners approved the criteria per the ordinance. Selection criteria continues to focus on preservation efforts in areas with large blocks of agricultural land and considers factors such as soil type, parcel size, proximity to water and sewer, proximity to other public or private preserved land. The top-ranked farms in 2019 ranking are in the Fruit Ridge area, which includes Tyrone, Sparta, and Alpine Townships. The Agricultural Preservation Board intends to seek funding from the Michigan Agricultural Preservation Fund and the Agricultural Conservation Easement Program to purchase conservation easements using the ranking system.
So moved.
It is moved to approve the resolution and supported. Is there any question or comments? Yes, Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chair. It feels like deja vu. I think I said the same thing at this point last year. The Agricultural Preservation Board does a thorough job with this grading system and how it operates. I think it's very good. I think the whole system, as far as what Kent County's been involved in, has been set up well. And just out of a fundamental disagreement with how the purchase of development rights system statewide puts in a deed restriction in perpetuity, I'm going to be opposed to this today.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Dell.
Thank you, Chair. I guess I just want to clarify, this is the first time that we've done this, isn't it? This is not the criteria. Those have been already, for ranking, those have already been approved. My understanding from looking at this is that this is something that's required by the state in order to participate, so we actually have to provide a list of our farms to the state. Is that correct? So we haven't really done this before?
Matthew Van
Would that be-
Zetten, if you
We've
could-
done it before, but not, let's have Matthew answer.
I believe we've come before the board to show the rankings before, and then in preparation for applications that we were going to submit. That's my understanding. We can double check that. But these are the rankings that we've provided, and we'll be going to the board. The state requires us to submit these to them and show that there's a plan, a purpose to move these things forward. So we can double check that.
Yeah, appreciate it, because I thought this was new money that became available in the state fund, and so this is the first time we've been able to apply for that?
That's accurate. There's a new pool of funding in the state, $1.9 million, I believe, with grant applications due on December 23rd. So these farms are prioritized. We will be applying with support of the Ag Preservation Board for at least one, potentially two farms.
Yes, go ahead.
And one more follow-up. Do we have any sense for what the differential is these days between the farm valuation and the development valuation? My assumption is that that is narrowing significantly. Do you have any sense of what that looks like now?
I don't want to misspeak. I would need to do some more research on that. It's been one of the discussion items I've had with Stacy, but I don't have any, I don't want to.
Has it been discussed at the Ag Preservation Board? Does our member have any
Yeah,
recollection of
Commissioner
that?
Coleman, you sit on that board. Do you have a
Yeah.
response?
To see the specific statistics, if I remember right from the ranking sheet, I think there's about a 40-some percentage gap in terms of like what's getting covered by purchasing